My heart goes out to all of the people who've lost family members and loved ones at the tragic shootings in Orlando. My heart also goes out to our country because every time a situation like this happens, we find ourselves at a crossroads and decide to not move. We hunker down in our support of some of the most heinous policies that will only lead to nothing but more death. Some people call this the biggest mass shooting in America's history. Even if that is indeed the case, we know that the way we're going with our culture of violence, it won't be the record for long. The fact of the matter is, rather than using these opportunities as a moment to pause, so many of us use this opportunity to espouse more hate. We are not even a week away from burying Muhammad Ali, and we're already having conversations about rounding up Muslims or banning Muslims from coming to this country. So, how are we really celebrating his legacy? We have people on the airwaves using this opportunity to speak about Syrian refugees, where we're talking about a United States born citizen who legally purchased a firearm that he had no business having, because no citizen needs to have a gun with that type of caliber. The same type of gun that was used in Newtown to kill elementary school students, and people aren't talking about that. It's important for people to say we need to be tough and we need to hunker down and we need to make sure that we're stopping these acts of terrorism from happening again. But it's false. These are false conversations that are happening. These are false rants that are that are taking place just so that people can get some airtime, because we're ignoring the most important part of this conversation. Somebody who is a pyromaniac should not have access to start a fire easily. You don't put things that are easily able to be stolen in front of somebody who's a kleptomaniac. We have an obsession with guns in this country, and we can talk all day about who's doing this, who's doing what, but we know that our conversations are not genuine, or we can call what happened in Orlando an act of terror, but not call what Robert Deere did to an abortion clinic an act of terror. We can call this an act of terror in Orlando, but not call what happened in Charlestown with Dylan Roof an act of terror. And on top of that, losing the opportunity to have a fundamental conversation about the hatred that still exists towards the homosexual community in this country is again another missed opportunity right now. We can talk about what the shooter's father said, but quite honestly, we know that there are people of all religious faiths who have similar views about homosexuals in this country. Where's the conversation going to happen about on that? So I'm calling all of you all who are watching this right now to use this conversation, use this opportunity to have conversations amongst yourselves about how we can be bigger proponents of peace, how we can help change a narrative when the media is failing to help us set a proper narrative that's going to bring us towards healing, how we in every single day can learn to promote more peace, to be vigilant, of course, in the face of violence, but in the face of violence and murder and death across all parts of our society, whether we're talking about the streets of Chicago, whether we're talking about senseless killings like these. We are a country that has a disease called an obsession with gun violence. We can do better. We can change. But we have to move forward together and stop using these opportunities to score political points and tear each other down. It's so easy to tear people down. It's so easy to shoot people down. It's much harder to start the important task of building our communities and building each other up, one person, one upstander at a time. We can no longer be bystanders on these issues. We have to stand up for peace. We have to stand up for justice. And we have to stand up for bringing positivity to all of this negativity and bringing light to the darkness. If we don't do it now, we may never do it ever.